What if the last person you said goodbye to never made it home? Imagine dropping off a close friend, expecting them to walk a short distance to their house, only to wake up to a horrifying news that they never arrived home. That's exactly what happened on March 6, 2025 in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. A night that should have ended in rest turned into a nightmare no one could ever imagine. The victim, Mr. Lawrence Ubo, a hard-working 44-year-old fashion designer, respected and well-loved in his community. Before his death, that evening, Lawrence had attended the burial of his friend's mother, a common event in the Nigerian culture that stretches into the night, good music, refreshment, and the company of friends and family. Since the deceased was someone close to him, Lawrence agreed to stay behind to support his grieving friend. But by the time he finally decided to leave, it was past midnight. Some of his friends decided to drop him by his junction since it was a long distance, and at 2 a.m., they dropped him off just a short distance from his house. A simply everyday act, but what happened next would leave the entire community in shock. Meanwhile, that same night, a local vigilante group known as the Edo State Security Corps was on patrol. As they moved through the streets, their attention was drawn to a group of young men behaving suspiciously. Sensing danger, they approached the boys, but panic erupted. The group, sighting the security outfit, ran and scattered into the darkness, running for their lives. But one of the men, named as Wadia, a 27-year-old man, was not fast enough. Wadia was a little slow due to a yellow plastic bag he was carrying, and this caught the attention of the security men, and they chased him down, and finally they apprehended him. When the security team questioned him to why he was running, his response made no sense. It wasn't coherent. His voice was shaking. His body language screamed guilt. Then, all of a sudden, he ran again, just like Usain Bolt. He ran into the shadows, desperately trying to escape. But the vigilantes weren't letting him go that easily. They chased him down, overpowered him, and dragged him back. At this point, the security team knew whatever he was hiding was serious. They demanded that he open the bag. Wadia, who was reluctant, he froze, but unfortunately, he couldn't do much because he was already surrounded. He had no choice. Slowly, he opened the bags. What the security corps saw inside the bag made their blood run cold. Inside that bag was a human head. The security men recalled the horror. The shock was really overwhelming. But then came an even more chilling realization. Unfortunately for the men of the security outfit, they knew the face of the bodiless head in the bag. This severe head belonged to Lawrence Ubo, a father, a friend, a man who had just attended a burial hours before. Wadia was immediately handcuffed. Under pressure, he finally broke down. He led the security team to the roadside where he had dumped the rest of Lawrence's lifeless body. According to investigations, Wadia's plan was to leave the remains of Lawrence's lifeless body in plain sight so that the community would wake up to a horror they will never forget in a hurry. But fate had other plans. He was caught before he could disappear into the night. By 3 a.m. that day, the police arrived and the nightmare became official. You see, Lawrence Ubo was more than just a victim. He was a well-known tailor in Benin City, admired for his craftsmanship and dedication to his work. He wasn't someone involved in trouble. He wasn't a man with enemies. He was just trying to get home. When his family received the news, grief consumed them. Their world shattered. How do you explain that someone you love left home some hours ago but never returned? Not because of an accident, not because of sickness, but because he was haunted and dismembered. Investigations shows that Lawrence was attacked by ritualists who ambushed him the moment he was left alone. His life was stolen for reasons too horrific to comprehend. Right now, Wadia is in the police custody, but the question remains, did he act alone or is he part of a larger, more sinister syndicate? As you hear, the community is demanding for one thing: justice. The police must ensure that everyone involved in this deadly act is arrested. The judiciary must also ensure that true justice is served. But sadly, beyond this case, there is a much darker reality in this country. Nigeria's insecurity crisis is moving at an exponential rate. These ritual killings are becoming too frequent, and the scariest part, for every one person caught, there are so many out there perpetrating evil. How many families have woken up to empty beds, never knowing what happened to their loved ones? How many mothers are still waiting for children who will never eventually come home? And how many lives must be lost before real action is taken? The government must act now. Create stricter laws, better policing, regulation of traditional practices, and try to create economic reforms to stop desperate people from turning into crime. Because until something changes, this horror will only continue, and you and I may become victims, but God forbid. Let us know what you think about the rising case of insecurity in Nigeria in the comment section. And of course, please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel to stay informed on this kind of case and others. And thanks for watching. This is Truth Uncovered Africa.